I knew from my mid-teens that I wanted to be doing what God was doing my whole life. And so I wanted to get involved in missions.
We are David and Laurel Stobie. We are serving with Ethnos 360 Aviation as part of our service with Ethnos Canada. We just finished our training with Ethnos 360 Aviation in the desert of Arizona, and now for this next little over a year, we are going to be raising our support team, working on visas process to get ready to go to Papua New Guinea, and hopefully in August 2024, we'll be jumping on a plane and heading over to Papua New Guinea after raising that support.
I don't think it was a moment when I realized that ministry was in my future per se, but just watching God change lives, watching God do miracles. I knew from my mid-teens that I wanted to be doing what God was doing my whole life. And so I wanted to get involved in missions.
Aviation has always been something that's excited me since way before I could remember. Always standing on the ground, looking up at airplanes, and then as soon as I could, after I graduated high school, got my private pilot's license, and then I was up in airplanes looking down at the ground. And so my journey towards mission aviation started before I had met Laurel. And now, about 11 years later, we have 3 kids. Steven's 5, Timothy's 4, Talia's 2, and it certainly makes life more complex, but at the same time, as we're going different places and seeing the ways God uses family to help us build relationships with people, our kids are excited to go to Papua New Guinea. They want to learn the language, they want to see the giant fruit bats. They're very excited to see friends that they know that are also going towards Papua New Guinea.
It's definitely a big thing to think we're making these decisions for these little kids. We're going to be taking them away from the opportunities they could be having here in North America. But somebody said to me, they said, you may not have known the kids you'd have, how that would change your mission journey when God called you into missions, but God knew them intimately before they were ever born. This is God's good plan for your life. He knew that those kids were part of it, and it's His good plan for their life.
Seeing through the entirety of Scripture that God is a God who is a communicator, that He takes that first step, and He has called us to be like Him as His witnesses. And for our family to be part of that is an incredible privilege, to be able to take that step that we are wherever God brings us. An essential part of who God is that He takes the initiative to build relationship with people, that He gave His Son. And part of what we're doing is giving ourselves to get to know people, to share the knowledge of this great God that we serve with people who have no idea. So though we have already been training here in Canada and training in Arizona on the aircraft there, we still have some more steps to go. Once we get to Papua New Guinea, we'll start out by learning the language, getting to know the culture so that we can interact with the people there on a good relational level. Then once we have that down, we're going to be starting more flying training. I will be having a pretty intense field checkout. The aviation environment in Papua New Guinea is complex. It's challenging. The runways are carved out of mountains in a rainforest with a lot of complex weather. So it's going to be a couple of years of learning, of being able to put the training we already have to good use as we continue training on our way to being productive members of the team there.